Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's John and I'm embarking on a journey to start, scale and build a fantastic coffee roasting company. So if you didn't see it already, check out my first video. It's where I kind of talk about what brought me to this and what my goals are. But in short, what I'm doing is starting from scratch, building a coffee roasting business with just a few accessories and a few items of equipment I've had, which I've been using for a number of years, roasting coffee for my own personal enjoyment and for friends and family. I decided finally that I want to start a business, but without investing a huge amount of money up front, starting with what I have. And I want to document this journey, showing how I'm taking it from absolutely nothing and I'm scaling it slowly. Who knows where this is going to go? I have a vision, I have a dream that eventually I want to build a very popular and sustainable coffee brand. So on my first video, I spoke about what my goals are and how I'm getting started. And on this video, I'm going to show you the equipment I'm using to get started. And as you'll see, I'm not really starting with a whole lot of anything. So keep watching and I'll show you really what my equipment is to get going. So really the coffee roasting is simply taking the raw green coffee beans and subjecting them to a lot of heat over a period of time. Coffee is very much like popcorn. If you've ever roasted popcorn, you'll start off with the little kernels and as they go through the heat cycle, they get bigger, they get puffier, and they expand and they pop. And coffee is very much the same. You'll put the raw green beans are subjected to heat, often most likely and most commonly in a drum, a rotating drum of some kind, brought up to very high temperatures. And in much like popcorn, coffee beans will pop and they'll expand and they'll give off the moisture they have remaining in them. Coffee beans are very hard. If you bite them, you'll break a tooth. They're very hard, but during the roasting process, they expand, and like popcorn, they become a lot lighter and they'll give off any remaining moisture in them. So I'll do a close-up picture. You should see it. I'll put it maybe here or here of what the green coffee beans look like. I am sourcing some green beans right now from a small retailer. I am getting green beans, but because of that, I'm paying a little bit more than I normally would be paying. But so I'll start off with the green beans, and these beans are Indonesian Sumatra. Fantastic coffee. So I'll show you my actual setup, my main roasting setup in just a moment. I'm just going to kind of take you through the equipment I use. Two big stainless steel bowls. So once the coffee is roasted, I'll dump the beans into one bowl and I'll move them from one to another. And because I'm roasting outside, I'll let the wind kind of blow off the chaff, the skins that remain on the coffee beans. And this kind of stops the roasting process as well by quickly, they don't cool immediately, but by taking them out of the roaster I'm using and then, exposing them to the air, the rapid roasting does stop. So I've got two of these drums. One of the goals is to eventually upgrade to a much more user-friendly cooler and dechaffer. Coffee roasting is very hot. So I have I have a pair of welder's gloves that I use when I'm removing the drum from the barbecue that I use. And again, I'll show you that in just a second. One thing about coffee roasting is that you don't want to rush it. You don't want to expose it to such high heat that it doesn't roast properly and the beans burn. So I have a couple of thermometers that I use. This one has a probe that goes into the barbecue, and here, this is a little handheld scanner one, which I tend to use a lot more now because I can quickly open a drum, take a couple of different readings to see exactly where my temperatures are at. I have a scale, so I like to get fairly exact quantities when I'm roasting. I tend to roast normally for personal consumption 3 to 4 pounds at a time. Now it might sound like a lot of coffee, but the way we go through it here, it really doesn't last too long. So right now for personal consumption and to give away to friends and family, I'm doing 1, perhaps 2 roasts a week. So maybe 4, 6, 8 pounds a week. So I start off with a scale and I measure my beans before roasting. Needle nose pliers, really useful. My drum is secured, the lid of my drum is secured with a little cottler pin. And when I take it out of the roast, I need to get that pin out as quickly as possible so I can dump the beans into the bowls. I am upgrading. I do have the conversion kit where the drum will be closing with a little clip. But for now, I'm using needle nose pliers to quickly pull the cottler pin so I can dump the beans as fast as I can. And really important for me is my logbook. So in my logbook, I tend to record, detail what beans I'm roasting, the weight of the beans, and the timings of the different stages that the beans go through during the roasting cycle. So again, coffee beans go through a couple of different phases. It's called, first crack, second crack. That's when the beans are expanding. When you get into second crack, that means the beans are getting fairly dark, and you're getting really like a real dark French roast. So depending on the who I'm roasting for, they might not like an overly dark coffee. So I'll tend to take it out fairly soon before the beans get to second crack. But I detail everything in a logbook, and this has been with me. This is actually my most recent version. I've got a few of these, and I've recorded all of the roasts. And it really helps me when I'm roasting. If I'm roasting, say, 3 pounds of Colombian, I'll look at, when I roasted 3 pounds of Colombian before, and what times I can expect to see first crack, second crack. When I first saw the smoke, when I really started smelling the smoke, everything is recorded in my logbook. So I hope you can see this. This is my roaster. It's fairly simple. It's fairly basic. So again, I acquired my roasting drum some years ago from a fellow in South Carolina, and he was building these drums. Now, they do have similar drums available on eBay. Tend to be very flimsy. They won't last very long. This thing is built like a tank. I believe it's 20 gauge aluminium, 20 gauge aluminium, or aluminum, depending on where you're watching. And yeah, I think it will take something like 700 pounds of force to put a dent in this thing. I've dropped it. It's fallen over, but it's held up. And just a beast, just a workhorse. So, and as you can see here, it's attached to a rotisserie motor, which is fairly old. I've been using this since day one, and most likely I'll be upgrading this, or I'll be reaching out to the guys in South Carolina to see about getting a new setup. I am looking, when I next scale, it's scaling up to an 8-pound drum or a 12-pound drum, and a new motor and a cooling system. But again, that's part of the journey. So it's just like a rotisserie. Turn it on, and it spins and roasts the coffee. Now, the barbecue I'm using, just a fairly run-of-the-mill barbecue. I've only ever used this for coffee roasting. Food has never gone into this barbecue. I want to keep it pretty much pristine. Well, pristine as far as what goes in it. I'm only using this barbecue for coffee roasting. So it is propane powered, obviously. I've got a 20-pound tank, a propane tank, and I do have a fairly good local supply for propane. And I think to fill my tank, it's around $15, 15 Canadian. So what is that? 13 US, 8 pounds, 10 pounds. No, in sterling and British pounds, that would be 8 pounds, something like that. So, and it lasts me a long time. The average roast tends to take around 15 minutes. So give or take a few minutes, around 15 minutes. So I'm getting a ton of roasts out of this, out of a 20-pound tank. Eventually, again, when I'm scaling up and I've got a big 12-pound roasting drum, and I'm doing a lot more roasting volume, I will probably upgrade to a 30-pound tank, just so I don't have to switch them out too often. So that's it, guys. That's my roasting setup. Again, I'm roasting outdoors right now. The plan is to eventually have a small shed. I'm looking at a few different ones, but I want this business to be fully self-funding. So basically, the money I'll be making from this coffee roasting venture, I'll be putting straight back in and really scaling it from there. So I'm bootstrapping this. Thankfully, I've got a fantastic roasting drum. The coffee quality I'm getting out of this drum is easily comparable to the coffee you'll get from a big commercial machine, if not better. I'm yet to find, you know, buying in a coffee shop, buying in a supermarket, I'm yet to find a coffee that tastes anything like the coffee that comes out of this drum. So it's doing it very artisan, for lack of a better term, very basic on the barbecue with a drum, does not impact or affect the coffee at all. And in fact, what I love about doing it this way, it's hands-on. It's, you're using your senses. I'm not using a computer. I'm not using to tell me when I should be putting beans in, when I should be taking them out. It's all by sound. It's by sight, you know, looking at the smoke, and by smell. It's really hands-on. So I love this. I love this personal connection with the roasting process. So, you know, when I'm enjoying a cup of the coffee, or the lovely Lisa's enjoying a cup of the coffee, or friends and family, you know, I've put everything into this. It's really hands-on. So yeah, I love roasting this way. And I'm on the fence, you know. Eventually when I can scale, should I really scale up and get one of those big commercial machines, or stick to doing it this way? I don't know yet. That's one of the questions I'll be asking myself when I get there. But so yeah, I've got the apron on. I'll be doing a roast fairly shortly, and the next video I'll be taking you through the coffee roast to show you, starting with the green beans, all the way to the, you know, cooling and eventually drinking it. So stay tuned for the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, I'd really appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Follow me on my journey. Not only is it about starting a coffee roastery, it's about starting a business. It's about starting a business with nothing. It's about bootstrapping, how I'm going to be doing the marketing, how I'm going to be getting this to the coffee drinker, to the consumer. So again, starting with absolutely nothing, just a few of the small items I have now, and the journey towards scaling this into a hopefully a long-term, very sustainable business. But again, if you haven't, I would really appreciate you subscribing. If you liked it, giving the video a thumbs up, sharing it with friends. And until the next video, where I'm going to be roasting, look after yourselves.